Hey everybody, Texas Trucker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star Mopars.com. Came out here, got some time finally, and we're gonna get started on a big backlog of KC tool hauls, at least right now. It took me forever. Why? Well, we lost about 40 minutes as I went through trying to get prices because apparently I don't have a great signal. Phones have been doing wonderful things here as of late. But why do you want to stick around? Well, we got a German tool sticker pack, and that can mean one thing. We spent over $100. $75 get you free freight. Any purchase gets you a bit of things. There should be several of them floating around here somewhere. I don't see a bagged one. Actually, I do. Well, let me grab the bag. Currently a number 2 Phillips from Witte. So, what do we have going on? We got a lot of cool stuff this time, and in part, kind of finally doing this because I've got time and I sort of need to use some of this, and I don't want to screw it up and make it look bad before we do. And there's actually, I think, one more before this one, but this is kind of what I need more right now. So we're just going to roll straight down the list the way they had it, and we're going to get started not with these. By the way, timestamps, I do timestamps. Weird, I know. Titles and, thumbnails are accurate, and I do timestamps. You can just skip around if you're only interested in like one item that you see. Now, sometimes I may not picture everything in the thumbnail. That's something like veteran viewers will know. But I do that for your convenience if you want to just check out the one thing, if you want to skip around, if you want to come back to the video and you're like, oh, I need to see these pliers again before I make a purchase. It's all there for your convenience, as are links. Still, as of recording this, I don't make a dime off of anything that I do here, so it's literally just there to help you out and save some time. Which might be helpful if you're like me right now and don't have any, like 1 bar of service over here, so we're basically operating on dial-up speed. But these are not what we're going to talk about because we've already talked about these, and these have been fantastic. They're actually really dirty, and they kind of look clean on the camera, so that's good. I always hate showcasing things that are like filthy when I'm trying to make like a good impression on the tool and the product, But yeah, if you were here, these would look, you'd be like, oh, what have you been doing? What it is, like, it's, see how this is kind of like a really bright red, and then this is sort of a duller red? In person, you can tell these are kind of greasy and grimy. The teeth themselves, we zoom in there. Come on. You can see signs of wear and signs of anti-seize, right? But these are sweet. I wasn't quite sure. I thought they'd be helpful at some point in time. They were helpful as soon as I opened them, which is a bonus. But this is the 2881 280s. These are sort of like a jack-of-all-trade pliers. I believe when we brought these in, I showcased like my Great Neck 90 degrees from AutoZone when I was like 14 or 15, right? And these were kind of, I don't believe they make a 90. If they did, I would buy them. Maybe wait for a sale, but I would buy them. That's how well I like these things. And why are we talking about them if they're not part of the tool haul? Well, if I can pull all this out without somehow dropping everything, which I'm not sure I can pull off. Actually, they are down here, right? Yep, they're here. Precariously on a stool beside me is everything that was not important that's about to be showcased, and these were of course on the bottom, and something fell that was important, but we could do the video without it. So what we have is Knipex 2871 280. These things MSRP are $41.33, but spoiler alert, while you may not find these on Tool of the Day, maybe once, twice a year, probably once a year if you get lucky, this is a product that you can often find on sale. You have to either check the product out and you're like, hey, that's a low price, or go to the sale section. But it's essentially the straight version of what we have there. And in person, this looks really bright and clean, and this looks filthy, but in the camera, that's surprisingly not that bad, so you're welcome. Could I have cleaned those? Sure, but I didn't because time. So, this is one of those things. It's long reach pliers are always going to be helpful. You might not want to use them and you might not want their help, but when you get in a position where you need their help, they sure are handy. And that's kind of why we brought in this set. This one right here, I feel like I got more versatility from with the 45 degree. Kind of wanted 90s, I'm not going to lie. But I felt like this is the happy medium guy, so we went that route first. And then this right here, based on the way these treated me, this became a no-brainer. So, to kind of keep this short and sweet, this is the only handle you can get on these, I believe. You can't get the 2-component, you can't get the plain one. I actually tend to prefer the grippy ones. The only downside to these, they're the hardest to clean. So you get the channel lock dip style right, and you can just wipe them down and they look new all the time. You get the 2-component ones, you can usually clean them up pretty easy with little effort. These are... they've got texture, which is great when you're using them, but if you want things to look clean and not have grease, I mean, you can tell the difference if you were here. It's one of those things, it's like a catch-22, but I would much rather have this over a traditional dipped, because I want to have better texture, better grip, than I care about it looking spit shined all the time. So, essentially the exact same deal. We've got the teeth on the jaw, which are harder to see because they are not used and they're black and oiled still. But you come down and you've got a lot, let's close it so you can see, a lot of grip zones. Nails, rods, cylindrical items, things that are supposed to be cylindrical or oval, whatever shape they should be. Wire, I mean, you name it, if it fits, it grips, right? And then coming down, you've got a traditional setup. There is not a cutter, but that's probably a good thing with a pair of pliers like this. The only complaint I would have, and I did, I don't know how many times I pinched the snot out of myself with these, there's no like pinch guard protection. So like if my index finger is there, my index finger is crushed. Right now, you're also probably the one squeezing down, unless you and a buddy are doing something crazy. So you can relinquish the pressure, but not until it's probably too late. And you're like, damn, and you say a few choice words and chuck something, unless you're under a vehicle and it's really hard to do so. And you know that if you do, you're going to hit something and something's going to fall down in your face anyway. So I don't really know what more to hit on these past what we covered there. They're just ridiculously handy items to have. What I want to know from you, if you have these, typically a lot of times people will buy these in pairs. In fact, I probably should have paid better attention, because when I was on placing an order 2 nights ago, getting some stuff for my nephew's birthday, I realized that you can get these with these and a pouch. Now, some people like the pouch and it's totally worth it. Some people hate the pouch. For me, it's the fact that the price comes down a little. It's a strange deal. Sometimes with the German tool companies, you're actually economically ahead to buy everything individually. And in that case, you can like piecemeal it. If you never use, 11/16 or 13/16 or something, don't buy it, right? And you save yourself X dollars there. Kind of the same way with pliers, you would think, oh, well, I'll get the set and save. Sometimes, Knipex, though, to their credit, is fairly well adjusted to the American marketplace. And so when you see a set, you will typically save money, but you always want to double check. And sometimes it's like amazing the price difference either way, which is, again, why you constantly have to be on your A game, checking things and making sure you are getting the best deal possible so you have more money to buy more tools. That's the ultimate goal here. This next item is right here. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it either. It's the Knipex CutiX. I love it. Why do I have this here? And you can't tell. Maybe I do a pretty good job of concealing what I do. But this has been opened. And why has it been opened? It looks brand new and it looks like there's a blade in it. Well, there is a blade in it. There's one blade in it. And it has been opened and it has been pilfered. Where can I find it? Right here. I love the CutiX. In the video, I talked and sang its praises and what I thought it would be like. It has not disappointed me. It's fantastic. This is one of my originals. I say one because I've purchased several of these, and I have them all over the place, here and at work. This one right here is like the OG, though, and I'm really, really happy with it. If you're curious, like that's all. This is not a blade right here. Like there's only that much left in it. Just recently, okay, like this tool haul goes back to October, like pre-Halloween October. It's currently March 1st of the next year, okay? And if you're like, well, why is that sitting in this package? I needed blades, all right? I needed blades. And I say just finally, Knipex, if you recall, when we made this video on this guy, I showcased like all different kinds of crazy blades, S blades, curved blades, hooked blades, straight blades, you name it. There's like 4 different choices, right? None of those have come to fruition in the American marketplace except the straight ones, and they were introduced a long time ago, and then they finally, like, I don't know how many showed up. There can't be that many people that were like had pre-orders or, you know, like back-ordered the CutiX blades, but I think I missed around, and then they were supposed to be delayed until like middle of March, and somehow some showed up like a little after Valentine's Day, and I got a pack. And I was like, cool. You know, I got notice they shipped. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go buy a ton of blades. He come in a pack of 10. And I got on there that night, and there was none available. So that's why I have these. It's a situation. I love the thing so much. I was buying more of them to get blades. I know you can get, you know, similar blades from other companies. For what I'm cutting down, especially at work, like thick cardboard, all right? Little Fujiya blades, you know, they're good. They're sharp. But these just seem to last longer, the Lutz blades from Germany. I'm curious if anyone across the pond has the exotic blades, like the S and the hook and everything like that. That would be interesting to know. But this one right here, like, when I tell you I use this a lot, I mean it. I don't know how many other people, and this isn't like from dropping or missing. This is just straight up, it's cut a ton of stuff, okay? The paint's coming off, it's got wear all over, it's still super comfortable, almost fits your hand better, as any good tool sort of conforms to you over time. It bends to your will, if you will. I was buying these, and I did it several times. Like, again, I check sales frequently, and when the prices would like come down or they come back in stock, and I'm like, man, I bet those are going to sell out again, I just kind of bring in another one or two. In fact, on this order, I actually bought 2 of them. And no lies, it was primarily so I could open it up and take. If you're curious, I always leave a blade in it just in case, like if I had a bad day or lost this or something. This is a functional tool. But right here in the back, when you pull that out, you get 2 blades. So I've been just kind of pilfering them. And here coming up, I'm going to open up my 10-pack and start restocking these so they're kind of ready to roll. But I cannot say enough good things about this. If you have not tried it, I cannot recommend it enough, especially if you're, I mean, everyone's going to need a box cutter, even if you're just like cutting tape to open things, or your wife buys crud from Amazon. Maybe you're the one that buys crud from Amazon all the time. Be a lot cooler if you were buying stuff from KC Tool like me, but the bottom line is it's just a fantastic box cutter. So we're set up. I might give some of these away, not to you. Again, I don't make quite enough money here on YouTube to be doing cool stuff like that all the time, but I've got some friends that I know like always have bad box cutters, so it's just I've gotten so many of them, and I'm still rocking this guy. I'm weird, I'm loyal. You know, I could easily just open that up and leave this somewhere in the box or the relic pile or something, or come back to it when we get blades. But no, I just keep rocking this one. So that's the story there, and I'm sticking to it. So that will cover our Knipex fronts. And now, if I can do this without screwing it up too bad, we've got ourselves some wrenches thrown into the equation. That's right, these are all from Gedore. It's all SAE. Volumetric people can check out now, although you might want to come back later. But these suckers right here I am pretty happy with. And how should we handle this? I think they're all in here. Just go fishing, I guess. You know, like right here, look at the size of this bag, right? I mean, that's insane. It goes all the way across. So what are we to do? Well, we just opened up some pliers. And, we're going to play a little game. Why not? Well, I'm just going to go in here, and we'll see how well these jaws grip. The trick is to elevate the wrench, grip it, and pull it. Got hung up. Why did it get hung up? Why did this Gedore get hung up? This number 7 Gedore, you say? Because it's not a number 7, it's a 1B. What does 1B mean in Gedore land? It means it's an offset. That's right. So, we're going back in. We're not done yet. What else can the Knipex transverse pliers pull out? Oh, got a good haul there. But we're not done yet. There's something even deeper. Lurking in the depths of the clear bag, we have a clear bag with another wrench. Look at this. This hand's over here. We're not even having to manipulate things. We're going to shake. Can we maintain the grip? Absolutely, because we are professionals using professional pliers. for purely professional purposes. 100% right there. So what are we trying to do? I'm trying to go in the order of the invoice, and boom, this is what I wanted. GR 600 5200. This will be Gedore's 1B line, and this is 5/16 across the flats. I always know that and forget it and think it's American form, and then there's a couple of you in the comments that'll mention that. So yes, across the flats, or if you prefer my American form, hey, you go to town with that. It's 5/16. Will we use that a lot? No, but it's a situation where I was thinking about it, like, where do I want to... 3/8 is sort of the de facto small wrench, right? But I was thinking, and I was like, you know what? Sometimes, and you can't usually get stubby wrenches that small because they also start at 3/8, right? So my thoughts were, hey, there's been plenty of times where I've had a fastener or, you know, a nut on the backside of the fasteners, particularly on grills on old cars and stuff, super fragile. Down here it might be like a metal brace, you know, it's like flash rusted and you have to come in. I can't, like, if I'm up here on top of a valance panel with a ratchet and socket, quarter drive preferably for stuff going through plastic, I can't be like underneath the car holding this wrench at the same time. It's just not physically possible. I'm not an octopus and my arms aren't quite that long. So you'll typically have to come in, you know, from the back side over here with the radiator, try to fish this thing through. And if I have a flat wrench, sometimes you're impeded. There'll be what's underneath this on an old Chrysler car. If you've got your flash rusted brace here that the grill support goes to, you've got wire harness underneath it, right? Or a loom of some sort. So my thoughts were the offsets on these could come in really handy. And that's why we have a 5/16. I'll also tell you, if you're like, man, this guy buys the weirdest, most like random wrenches. I don't know what size that is, but it's way bigger than this. Totally agree, and here's the true confession. A lot of times, like, I want to get a set. Whatever the set means to me in this case, probably 1/4 to 3/4, possibly going up to 7/8, 15/16 would be work. All right, it's not that big of a deal here at the house. But what I do, instead of me like just, oh, we're going to buy the whole set right now, I'm not one of those instant gratification people. I pride myself in the long game, right? The savings, the going over time. I also pride myself in getting myself stuff here faster. And the way you can do that, of course, you can request that they ship it. But if it's a situation where I wanted to buy 1/4 through 3/4, but 1/4, half, 9/16, and 3/4 is what was in stock, I'll buy those. And then let's say there's like a super awesome deal on tool of the day, maybe these pliers, and I get home late from work and they're sold out, and I know I'm going to have to wait for the pliers to come. That's when I come in and I'm like, oh, that 7/16 wrench isn't in stock yet. I'm going to throw it on that order. So that's literally how I function. Some of you may be the same way. Some of you may think I'm crazy, but that's the way I roll. So 5/16 got a good usage explanation there. What's the price point? MSRP, you'd be looking at $17.17. I think when I bought these, there was a sale, so we're gonna roll with that one. Now, up next is Gedore part number 600-5390. If you paid attention to that part number, you think like, hey, I think this is another one of those 1B things, right? You'd be 100% correct, and this is the companion 3/8. So we don't have the 1/4 one yet, but we've got 5/16, we've got 3/8. Price point on this one, as you might expect, you go up a little bit. You jump from $17.17 to $19.13. Again, those are, you know, not sale prices, if you will. And our next one, and you're sitting here like, yeah, fish it out of the bubble wrap, buddy. Nope, not gonna do that, because it's this guy right here. This is a Gedore 1B in 3/4. This is one we'll take a detailed look at for you so you can get a good feel for it. $36.98. I want to say when we got it on the sale, it was like maybe closer to $20, which is a pretty solid buy. So, what we have with the 1B, obviously Gedore does really good fitment. If you've never used their wrenches, sometimes like annoyingly good. What I mean by that, if we're coming in on the back of a 440, had some valve covers puking oil for 2 decades or something before it was shut down and parked. It's a situation where if that's like crustified, you know, and gotten hard, you can usually get a wrench over it with some slop. These are really, really exact tolerances. And so you may have to wire a brush before you get the open end on there, right? But it's the 1B. And it also changes the design a little bit. Some people will like it, some people will hate it, but this little thing that makes it look like a small toy wrench right there, if you just had that handle on it, that's a design feature. Again, you might like it, you might hate it. Does it be a thumb rest? Does it be something that just like digs into your hand? I don't know. It's going to have to wait until we use the thing some. Size marking right here, 3/4 AF. I'm not sure that you would have to put that, you know, like maybe just having the 3/4 centered and larger would be better, but you know, it is what it is. I don't have any of these in metric to actually compare and see if it's just like 19 or if it's 19 mm, you know, who knows. Right there you can see you've got the number 1B, Gedore, Germany. It looks like that's an A4. Here's the box end. It's beautiful. It's 12 point. If I flip it over here, we got the tag, again, number 1B. I'm assuming underneath this we would have Germany. Come on, fingernails, don't let me down now. Oh, vanadium. Okay, looks like it's going to say vanadium. No size indication here, but again, the big payoff is the offset. This isn't straight, it's offset, and that's going to give us better access, and it'll keep me from busting my knuckles as often. So, there we are. What 3 wrenches was it again? 5/16, 3/8, and 3/4. Curious that this guy got the sticker here and the other two are inverted. So I know what you're thinking. What's that? You got a wrench hanging out over here. What's the deal? You gonna fish that out of the bubble wrap too? Hey, it was your idea, so we will absolutely do that. Who am I to deny a good time, right? let's see if we can do this. Get a good grip. We could probably use gravity. We're gonna do this instead. Oh yeah, utilitarians that we are, making things happen, switching these out for your viewing enjoyment. And if you're like, hey, that's a weird offset, yeah, it's not a 1B. This is a Gedore trusty old number 7, and it's a 7/16 AF. What does that mean again? 7/16. What does that mean? It's gonna get used a ton because it goes with quarter hardware. So right there you can see 7/16 AF. Notice not on the head but on the body of the wrench this time. Got the number 7, the Gedore circled logo, branding there, made in Germany, and 7/16 AF on the back end. Flipping it around, this one might stick too, but I can kind of tell what I need to know. Let's see, if sometimes I leave these, I don't know why I do that, but in this case I want to get it off for you, because it's just interesting to make note of a couple of small discrepancies between these. This, good grief, is the side we were on, and this is the side that we just peeled a sticker off of. How can you tell the difference, you ask? 7/16 AF, 7/16 AF, number 7 and the Gedore logo. Number 7 and the Gedore logo. And what is this? Vanadium, 7/16 AF, and adhesive residue. That is made in Germany in 7/16. So what is going for this wrench? Number 1, if you're familiar with Stuvilla, this is about as close as it gets, in my opinion. These are really like, the thinness is a thing. You know, some people are going to like that. Some people are like, oh, it digs into my hand. I need something more radiused and bigger. I see both ways. But this is kind of akin to Stuvilla. If you're ever sitting there and you're like buying Stuvilla wrenches piece by piece because you realize you save money versus a set, or they don't have a set for what you're buying, and you're like, everything's in stock but the 1/2 inch. If you're an impatient person, or you just really need that 1/2 inch wrench too, the Gedore's available in the number 7. You'll probably A, save a little bit, but B, you can bring it in and check it out and compare it versus the Stuvilla. So keep that in mind always. 12-point boxed in, standard, looks like 15-degree offset there. Pretty solid little wrenches. I kind of think unsung heroes sometimes because just not many people try them. You know, it's kind of, ooh, Stuvilla. And to be fair, they're great wrenches, but then a lot of people aren't like me, and that's the stopping point. It's like, oh, I think I found a pretty good wrench, and you did, but what if there's something better? What if the Stuvilla is so good that things that would even be good fail in comparison? Or what if you're weird and you like the Gedore or the Hazet or the Proto better? than you would the Stavilla. It's one of those things, you just kind of have to try it. So price point on this guy, which he will pair with other things as well, is going to be $18.45. Those tend to be a little bit more reasonable. Sometimes it just kind of varies. This next one, that's actually why I'm doing this video, because I was like, man, you know what? I really want to put that in a cabinet. So let me step over here. And we've got Hazet. And you're like, man, this is the video that just keeps giving. We got Knipex, Gedore, Hazet. I love this guy. Good time to remind you, if you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. There's not a lot of people that do the crazy things I do on the internet, and if you enjoy it, I typically have videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Now that said, what we have above the camera that you can't see is part number 198-1. Some of you are like, oh, I think I know. Like, that's probably like shop equipment type of stuff, right? That'd be 100% correct. Price point, $19.99. Some of you just had your heart sink because you were hoping for like some cool HP or HPS ratchet, or maybe some wrenches or pliers or something, right? And what do I have in the bag? A funnel. That's right. You may have not expected it, but it's a funnel for $19.99. Now, there's a couple of cool things here. Number one, pardon me as I step to a coffee can. Oh, and the trans fluid flows. Okay, this is my main like oil fill funnel. It's been with me. Ooh, look at that. Still clean. Who knows how long it's been down there. Could be a little power steering fluid too. But this is it. It's nothing fancy, and it does not have some of the features this one does. So 1 second. You know, we should take a poll sometime. I should grab that coffee can and it's a W40. The person who can guess how many spiders are dead in the bottom of the coffee can, drowning in oil, could possibly win a CutiX. If you think it's a good idea, let me know. But the 198-1, I have not opened this guy. I do plan to use it, and if you're curious, it's 100%. And the rest, I may actually have to buy another coffee can. I say coffee can, they're like old ones. It's I pilfered from my grandparents or something. I don't drink coffee. It takes away money from my car part and tool fund, right? So there's one item in here that I'm not going to show till the very end, because I didn't know it was in there until I grabbed it for this video. So kind of exciting. This is a selling point. It's flexible. It's not very often where I can come in. Now, old cars, it's awesome. I can take that black funnel and I just shove it down, and it almost always rests against like a hood prop or something. And I can set the oil there and I can let it funnel out. You get more and more modern, and it's a situation, if I leave that bottle of oil unattended, guess what happens? That, not cool, not wanted, creates a mess, not desirable. This is flexible, that's a win. Small taper, which is good. It'll get in pretty much everything I can think of right now, including power steering, which is good. But this is a nice selling point. We've got a hanging hole, we've got a handle, which my other one doesn't have. It does have like a, I don't even know why they would put it on there, but it's like a little tab. It's probably just to sell it in stores, really. You could technically like put it over a nail if it's a pin that doesn't really even support the weight. But this guy right here, wide mouth, which is good, tapers down, and then check this out, it's threaded. You're like, oh, that's kind of inconvenient, I don't know about that. Well, here's the deal. If you're having to store this thing somewhere, you can break it down, and that could be the difference between fitting in drawer A and having to go in drawer B or cabinet number 1 type of a deal. So there she kind of is set up, but check this out. I did not know this was included. It's a strainer, right? Can't really call it a filter, it'd be more of a strainer. But do I expect to find crazy things inside my expensive oil before I dump it into an engine? No, but it's good to check. I mean, who knows? I've got so many bottles of random fluids and chemicals over here. Sometimes I might accidentally grab one that's like been drained and sitting around that I forgot to like dispose of or something. And this can help prevent disaster, especially if it's transmission fluid. So kind of a cool deal here. It looks like it might snap in actually, but I'm not sure where this timed out. I didn't realize it had timed out until I looked down. But what I was doing is placing that filter in there, and it's going to do its job. So cool deal. $19.99. You'll see that just like with the Hazet magnetic nut cups, you will find that in other brands, maybe other colors, maybe colors that you like better. But it's just a situation where the price is going to be about the same, maybe a little bit higher. So always pay attention to that. You wouldn't think of Hazet and affordable, but again, you know, check Napa, check your local parts store, see if you find something similar, and if it's like $24.99, consider going the Hazet route, especially if you like the Hazet teal. Now, coming up next, this is one I'll probably try to go through relatively quickly. It's a tool that was honestly kind of on the verge there. I think they had some issues with the, well, I don't know if I can talk about it, but there was a situation where things had to be like corrected, you know, type of a deal, sort of as you're making things. If you're sitting over here, you know, casting parts, you know, let's say that you have spindles that are going to drop a 79 aspen, and you know, you're going to sell them to everyone that wants to lower their aspen. Well, if you make enough of them, the core box eventually shifts, right? Might have some issues, might get broken, employee has a bad day, it needs repairs. And tools are no different. And so there was a time where these suckers were gone, like they were just not available. And I kind of was like, what's going on? Like, I love those things. And, you know, contacted some people and, you know, heard some stories, and I was like, they've got to come back. They're too good to go away. And the good news is they came back. And what we're talking about is right here from NWS. It's the Ergo Combi. If you've never seen these on my channel before, whether it was an unboxing or being used in like some repair video, I love them. Absolutely love them. This part number, if we flip it around, is going to be 1096 69 200. These kind of are the bee's knees in terms of Ergo Combi stuff, right? So you've got your grip zones, decent grip, different teeth. You can grab a ton of stuff with these profiles here, and they've got a side cutter. What would be cool, I was thinking about this when I was grabbing these to bring over here, I was like, you know what? If this was just straight up a side cutter, you know, like just blades right through here, I think I'd buy a set, like unless they're just exceptionally stupidly priced, which I don't believe they would be coming from NWS. I'd spend 25 to 40 bucks. You know, I might wait for a sale, but that would be like super useful, especially like where these come in handy, and what they're probably intended for is not what I do, but rather for something where it's like, this is your job. This is your station. You come in and you have to crimp and twist this, right? Over and over and over and over again, to the point where if you're having to use like straight on pliers, you know, you might not be able to tell, but like this is my wrist and it's going up and it's awkward and it's putting strain on it, where this is a much more natural movement, right? It's just like we're pointing. The human body naturally moves in that way. That's why they're called ergonomics, right? That's really where the payoff is. Now for simple things, they're at a funky angle. You can get it in a lot of places. Again, just like these pliers from Knipex, you know, where it's kind of like, ooh, you know, that might come in handy. And then you're like, you find a situation, hopefully remember you have them. You're like, man, I can't imagine having to do what I just did without those. So whether it's fish out a cotter pin, you know, or something dropped under an intake manifold and you're trying to go down in there type of a thing, it's just a super useful tool. Now these, part number I gave you already, run 4232 currently. I don't think that, keep in mind, I mean, this is like several months ago now, right? But if you want to spend a little bit more money, about $4 to be exact, you can get a different finish. This is the Titan finish. It's sort of like a black, you know, if you will, finished. And then over here, these are filthy, but this is the matte chromium, okay? These also kind of look clean. Well, not really. The Knipex is disguised really good. But these, if it kind of just looks like there's like cast iron, or I've been grinding over them or something. What do I do with these to make them look that bad and get stained up on the handles? I grab bolts by the head, I hold the threads in a wire wheel, and I let the bench grinder do the work. So that's why these look like they do, but man, do I love them. Before, it was, again, a super awkward deal where instead of me having the head of the pliers needs to be here, but the handles would have to be here, so I'm coming in straight. That's really not terrible, but then the problem comes in, like, and the bolt is 360 degrees, and so are the threads as they go winding their way towards the head of the fastener. So I essentially have to sit there and do that the whole time, whereas with these, it's much, much, much easier on me. So this is it's a bad example because these are filthy. They don't really, again, just like the Knipex, you can't tell as much on camera as in person, but Titan versus matte chromium. So pick your poison. What I want to know from you. Doesn't matter if you have these, doesn't matter if you use them, doesn't matter if you've never used NWS stuff before. You have to pick. Pick your plier, make them straight, normal, side cutters, pincers, whatever. Are you a Titan person or a matte chromium? Again, Titan will save you money. Matte chromium, a little bit kind of negligible if it's an aesthetic thing for you. But I just want to know which one you would prefer and why. Also, if you've never tried NWS pliers, I'd recommend you buy these. They're that good. And you would get to experience, as what I call, the sci-fi grips. Super, super nice. Again, if black and yellow is more your thing, Philo is going to have NWS rebranded tools. I don't believe Philo has these Ergo combis, though. They may, but I don't recall seeing them off the top of my head. But let me know which one you prefer and why. Especially if, let's just say, the price is the same. $40 for either pair of pliers. Are you going Titan or are you going matte chromium? Both super cool in my opinion. Contrast on that, and I don't mean that aesthetically, I mean like fishing for things. Now on an intake manifold, if it's an aluminum intake, no, this would give you the contrast, but the rest of the time, under a dash, dark places, under a vehicle, the contrast there might be desirable. Little things you have to think about before you go throwing your money around. Now, this is a long video, but again, when you think about everything we cover, it's really not that bad, but I do timestamps, and I also want to get this taken care of. We could easily do like pliers, wrenches, and then this stuff, right? But I kind of, hey, here's the bit of thanks from this order. Right there, see? I'm not lying to you. This is a similar sized bag, and it's from Witte. The part number is 26298. The price, sit down, $3.63. What is it? You'll have to wait and find out, because I intend to pair it with this. And what is this? Well, this is that right there in my hand. And you're like, oh, beautiful. Black and blue from Witte. What's the part number? Well, what does that say? It says 26375, and I don't know if that's right. Okay, it is. My apologies. And this is the crazy thing. Look at that. All the way across. This thing, guess the price. It's obviously a magnetic bit holder, if you couldn't tell. Do I have hex key? Thank you. Right? It's a magnet. It's not friction, it's magnet. So we've proven that. Magnetic bit holder in this length. What is this length? Well, does it tell me? It's 150. So what does 150 mean? It means 6 inches. That's obviously 150 millimeters, 6 inches. Standard screwdriver, you're typically, especially number 2 Phillips, nothing exotic or crazy. You can have 100 millimeter or 4 inch. This is not 200 millimeters or 8 inch, but the happy medium, the 6 inch or 150 millimeter spot. And will it pair with your bit of thanks? Well, it most certainly will. In this case, it's a Witte. That's a really good fitment there, especially in terms of like tightening or loosening. You eliminate all the slack in there. But it'll also pair with this. And you're like, oh yeah, that thing. It's like $3. Like, I can't believe, did we cover the price on this? That's what I was getting to. $8.94. Like, that, I felt like that was just a stupid goodbye. I almost felt like it was a misprint, but it's never been updated, so I assume it must be the real price. I'm getting really cold in here, and apparently we need to use our pliers to open this thing because my fingernails aren't quite enough. Maybe I've chosen the wrong tool. Perhaps we should use the CutiX or needle nose pliers. This is a square tip. There we go. All right, so just got timed out there. I should have paid attention to the country of origin here. Not sure if it would be Germany or Taiwan. I'll try to remember to make note of this, but if you're curious, is it going to go in there? It sure is. You're like, wait, what's that shiny thing? What's going on? What devious plan are you scheming, sir? That plan. That's right, making things hard to see. What is this? It's basically converting a 1/4-inch bit to 1/4-inch square drive. What do we do with that? We put sockets on it. What have we done then? We've given ourselves, I happen to have one sitting right here, which is definitely, well, I don't know the country of origin on that either, but it's from a super cheap screwdriver set, as is this guy. I now have essentially a 6-inch nut driver, right? Not hollow shaft or anything crazy, but just if you're ever using like your standard nut drivers and you can't get there, you know, you come in and you've, oh, you know, fasteners here, sir, and your 4 inches stops at this point. If you need the 6 inches, you've got the 6 inches. So obviously any bit that we have, 1/4 hex, we can throw in there. And then with something simple like this $3 add-on, we basically created ourselves a groovy little nut driver. So that is a win for us. Now, coming in before we move on, I guess we should highlight this. All right, come on, man. SW 1/4 by 150, made in Germany. It's just a little part number. Witte does a good job of usually having that line up with the main branding. Otherwise, it would drive people like you and me crazy. Now, coming in next, did we save the best for last? Well, can't say we saved a bit for last, but we definitely saved a little for last. And what am I getting at with that? Well, I've got 2 drivers here, and one of them, the number 3, is what fell earlier. I'm just going to go ahead and grab it. I'm going to put it right there. You're like, whoa, when did KC Tools start selling those? Well, they don't. This is actually from Matco. One of the better things we bought from Matco. As I record this, we're basically at 7,000. 7,500, I promised you Mac, 10,000 Snap-on. So, as I said earlier, if you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to do so. You can help me make poor financial decisions so you can enjoy Wednesday and Saturday videos. What's the deal? Why is this here? Well, this Matco Stubby, it's a number 2 Phillips, of course. You think, man, that kind of looks familiar. Well, it should, because it's made in Germany. This is from Witte. It's a tri-lobe. Selling points, right? So you're thinking like, oh, I know what's coming up. Do you? We'll have to wait and see. This little guy right here is going to be, got to get a plastic bag out of my way. Part number, WT, that's what you can type in if you want to, 94252. This is the Maxx Phillips stubby screwdriver. It's going to be a number 2. It's all black. Good Lord. Wow. Okay, this was in a bag and I hadn't really seen it because it was with everything else screwdriver related. I had no idea. Like, that is a hanging hole. I mean, this is like designed to be mounted on a wall and display. I mean, that, you typically get a tiny, like, I'm just going to come over here. Biggest Torx driver handy is a T40, conveniently from Witte. It's a decent size hole, right? But I mean, look at the driver. That's like a 6-inch shaft, right? And it's a fat, big handle. Well, if we come in and we take a gander at that guy, it's like a gut hook. Like he's been shot with a 357 or something, you know? Case in point, stubby nearby with a hanging hole is this little Hazet. That's typically what you expect, right? Just sort of like a small, meaningless drill bit. Look at the difference between those two. I had no idea that was there until it came out of the bag. That's why I'm sort of taken back. Real-time reaction. Barcode people, I apologize for Witte because that is hideous. Like, just don't do that. You know, you think like, oh, I sure hate having to peel these stickers off and get the adhesive off. You know what? I would do that any day if it meant I didn't have to have that stupid thing silk screened onto an otherwise nice looking tool. Okay, I know it's a stubby and it's probably not super torque, and even if it's in an area where you might want it, you might not be able to apply it. This is not a great design. It's a great design for hanging, but, and I'm sure, you know, the business end is fine, but it's a situation as I'm turning this, I can only imagine if I'm like trying to break something free or tighten something, maybe stop a gasket from leaking, you know, type of a deal, or crush a gasket and make it leak. My thumb is wandering to this giant cavity. I mean, this is like crud out of Super Mario World. It's a warp pipe size. I mean, we can take this thing, this is a bit holder, just, I can't believe it doesn't fit. I guess it's only not going through because this is tapered, which I guess they did for strength. That's just, it's a massive hole. What size drill bit do I have here? Come on, glove. Don't. This is really more of the thumb. I've gotten cold and I can't grab things. It's quarter, as you might expect. Like, come on, you know. If you are someone who would love this, if it had a hanging hole and you're disgusted because you cannot hang that thing up and it just irks you to no end, I just found your dream stubby screwdriver. You can, those little Harbor Freight magnetic hooks I have all over the gantry crane and holding signs up at work, they would fit on this. Like, that is insane. And in my hand, I have part number 94352. This is the Pro, so this is the Maxx, and this, it gets real confusing with Witte. We're going to cover all that at some point. But this is the Pro Phillips Stubby. Same price, $603 and $603. I have not had the heart to look through it because of this. Like, I mean, let's take this Matco driver. You know, I mean, like, if it had the length, it would go through all the way. It's just insanity. I pray that they did not butcher this guy in my hand. Oh, hallelujah. Okay, so we're safe. Tri-lobe design, check. Sweet blue. It's kind of a baby blue. It actually does. Let's go back to these little Torx drivers here. It does match that color really well. It's almost, without the black though, it's like a baby blue. If you were dating somebody and they had like a screwdriver set in this handle, it might be something you could pull off if pink isn't an option, right? Which I would highly advise, because the money you'll save not buying from Matco for something rebranded is significant. Get it from KC Tool in this blue and have a really nice dinner or gas money to leave doing burnouts when you flee in horror. Either way, for $603, I'm going to go this route. All right. Now, this doesn't have, you know, the classic texture pads and grip like you would expect, you know. But this is currently, these, at the time of ordering this in October, these were like really, really, really new. And these were the two stubbies available. Obviously, if you're like, I don't care about number 2 Phillips, of course they're going to have them in other drive sizes. Keep that in mind. But this one's a little slippery. It's just a situation. It looks way better than that. Now, if you're someone that's like, man, I hate that color, I'm going to have it looking like that in 2 weeks, go this route, but be warned. If your plan is not to hang the driver, I would go with this. Typically, like, if this was a full-size handle on like a 4-inch shaft, that would be big, but like, you're not grabbing there. Like with the stubby, let me go to the ungloved hand. Like, if I come in and it's got nice grip pads, but like, I'm wanting to roll it, and then my thumb just naturally flows to that massive chasm that they've cast into the handle. So, out of these three, this iteration, in my opinion, is the best. And if this was $6, this is $6, and that's like $8, I would pay the extra $2 to get the pads. Now, this, in my opinion, looks really good. It's just, again, it's kind of slick, which is not something I'm used to with Witte. This is almost like a cheaper handle. And I say that just, again, if this was 4 inches, I don't think it'd be a big deal. Even in the gloves, it's kind of wanting to wander on me. Whereas this, which is literally identical, minus, you know, like having these pads, you get much better tactile feel. It still kind of wants to lobe out on you. Just inherent design of the tri-lobe. It's just, in a big handle, standard length handle, I don't have any issues with a tri-lobe. I love it. And this stubby, unless you're able to come in and articulate it, you know, sort of between the 3 fingers, it's kind of dicey. You're almost better off, like, you've got different ergonomics here, you know, like a hot air balloon Hazet and then the Vera. Didn't intend to bring these out. This one, again, I'm not a fan of the bulge in the middle in this case. It would be good for speed, but see how it wobbles? And then I'm limited back here, and then what do? We lose grip. That's why, out of everything here on the bench, which I do have VHOs back there, this is vastly superior from like a functional standpoint. And it does look good too. Not that that's like the be-all, end-all. Just because we brought out the others, this VH, I naturally flow to that point. Now it's almost like a vessel effect where you just ball up here. Again, that could be a pro, it could be a con. Will we compare shaft lengths? No, because we'll probably have a standalone video for that. This right here from Philo, again, kind of follows the VHA method. It just flows your fingers and forces them into this point in time, right? So there's a little sampling of stubbies for you. And I was taken back by that. I mean, it's significant. let me highlight this for you. I mean, when I said you can like gut hook it, I meant it. That's just not expected. I don't know, maybe Casey, like I said, brand new when I bought them. I don't know if like KC Tool didn't have like the video or pictures with it. If they do have a picture, it's probably going to be this angle. I mean, I'd do the same thing, but God, talk about a surprise right there, you know. You can just watch the video through that hole. But yeah, on that note, that is it. That is our KC tool haul. I'm not quite sure the number, so I'm not going to commit to anything right here so I don't butcher it. But I'm getting really cold. It's coming up through my feet like it does. I lose dexterity in my thumb still. That's why I sort of like struggle to pick up the drill bit, you know, type of a thing. But I think this was a pretty sweet little haul. So we've got the Gedore 1Bs. We added 5/16, 3/8, 3/4. We got the 7/16 in the Gedore 7. We got the stubby with the world's greatest hanging hole. I mean, that is a selling point for some of you, you know. So that's why I highlight it. And in certain, I mean, the other perk, if you were just in a really weird situation, you could come. This is big enough, like some Tommy bars would fit through it. You could turn it into quite the little torsional rig rat, if you will. This one looks amazing. I don't really know about how it felt, kind of slipping down there. We added this pair of pliers. We added this pair of pliers. They switched sides on me, and they're just stupid handy. Again, let me know if you had to pick one of them to start with, as I did. Would you go straight or would you go 45, and why? Similarly, if you have wrist pain or you do repetitive tasks all day and this pair of pliers would do them for you, highly, highly recommend the NWS Ergo combis, as evidenced by these greasy, nasty guys right here. Matte Chrome versus Dark Titan. Let me know which one you prefer there. $8.94 plus that $3 adapter. You've created a nut driver set. You've got a 6-inch bit holder, which you might just have 4. Super, super good value there. Like I said, I think it was, and we got a CutiX, so I can rob blades from it. But I got to get inside, gonna work out, try to warm up a little, get feeling back in my feet. I do hope you enjoyed the video. We also have the funnel. It just doesn't fit here, so it's sitting, chilling out up there on a screwdriver stand. But, let me know your thoughts on all this stuff, what you like, if there's anything you don't like. That'd kind of be crazy, unless it's one of these or something. But if you've used the Gedore 7s or the 1Bs, it can of course be metric. Let me know your thoughts. How do they compare to other brands? Similarly, if you got any cool stories with what you do with these crazy long Knipex, you know, assembly pliers, if you will. And if you are a fan of NWS grips or the NWS Ergo combis, Titan versus matte chromium, all that good stuff, feel free to discuss it down below. Again, the end goal is simply to help people out. Did we show something cool? Yeah. Do you need it? Maybe. Should you buy it? It's up to you. I can only provide the information I can. So in some cases, it's really cool, like with these Ergo combis here, and then these 45 bin assembly pliers. I've used them, so I've got like real world feedback for you. It's not just like a blind, oh, here it is out of the packaging, and here it is in my hand doing, non-existent imaginary tasks. I've got real, especially with these, I've used these for a long time. These guys, relatively new addition, but they literally went straight to work. So it is what it is. But with that said, let me know your thoughts on this stuff. Again, if you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. Doesn't cost you anything. It helps the channel grow. The more people that come here, the more people that watch the videos, the more likely I am to do cool stuff with tools and old cars. So that's the ultimate payoff for you, I suppose. Website, LoneStarMopars.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz at Lone Star Mopars. Once more, I hope you enjoyed the video. And more importantly, I hope you have yourself a fantastic weekend.